Sometimes people come into our lives and completely change them. To me, these are the best kinds of people. The ones who change your life, preferably for the better, and don't even realize it. Before I start, I just want to ask, have any of you ever met someone who completely changed your life? Well, this is the story of the man who changed mine. The person who, without even realizing it, has become one of the defining reasons of why I am who I am, and even why I'm even here today. His name is Paul Duplessis, and I was lucky to have him as a water polo coach for the short time he coached for my club. Paul is one of those people who can walk into a room and just command everyone's attention. He always had a smile on his face and frankly seemed to be the happiest person I had ever met. Soon I learned that that was wrong. My story with Paul started in the middle of a practice when I first injured my shoulder. At this point, I was at an extremely low point in my life, mentally and physically. I simply wanted to give up on everything. I felt like I wasn't good enough, especially when it came to water polo. I remember getting out of the pool in tears and just walking away. I didn't know what else to do, and looking back, just leaving was definitely a dumb decision. But Paul followed me and yelled down the pool deck, stopped and turned around, tears flowing down my face, and he called me over to the nearby bleachers. We sat down, and he made me talk about everything. I ranted to this man like there was no tomorrow, and I overshared way more than I should have, especially because I didn't know him very well. And then he looked at me and stopped me, and he told me just to listen. At this point when I met Paul, he was 19, and he took me through his entire life. Paul was born in South Africa, and then he was adopted by two parents, white parents. He was black, and got cancer at the age of 6 for the first time, lost all of his hair, and became super sick. 2 years later, he was back in remission and started playing water polo, something he never thought he'd do because he was just so sick at the time. And he worked really hard at it, so hard that by the time he was 12 and his cancer was back, he didn't want to quit. And he kept playing till his treatments were so bad, he just couldn't do it anymore. And he thought that that was the end of his story. Well, at 16, Paul felt a lot better and was back in remission once again. He trained for another year and then made the South African national team, something he always wanted to do. And then he had a career-ending shoulder injury, same thing I thought was going to happen to me, and he never played again. Paul then soon moved to Canada for university and just to coach. He always thought that his remission was going to work, and he was never going to have to worry about cancer again, but we'll get into that again later. And then at the end, he looked at me and told me that if he can do everything that he's done despite everything he's been through, then I can too, and just to believe in myself. Words that people have told me a lot of times, but weirdly, till he said it, I never believed it. I can't tell you why. There was really no reason. Just the way he said it made me believe him. A few months after our conversation, Paul got sick again, and his remission didn't last. He had to quit coaching a little while after because his treatments just became too much for him. And seeing him like that really sucked because the smile that I saw every day was gone. He in general was gone. A little while later, he started coaching swimming in the summer, which luckily I swam, just for a different club, so I'd still see him around. And to this day, he's still one of my biggest personal cheerleaders. A little while after that, I moved to an all-girls club and trained harder than ever, and ended up signing an FPU, which honestly, without Paul, I don't think I ever could have done, because he gave me the motivation and the spirit to do whatever I wanted to do. He made me determined and strong and resilient, something I never was before him, because I thought of everything he's been through and thought, what I'm going through is a lot less than he has. So if he can do it, I can too. I still thank God for him every day and how he changed my life.